Today, we're going to be making a custom engineer. These are the things in Halo 3 and also were supposed to be in Halo CE, floating around and kind of slaves to the Covenant, so I wanted to make a few of these because I think they're really cool. So basically, I started out with a tinfoil ball and I shaped it into almost like a C, and then I'm using oven-baked clay. I'm not going to be using any green stuff on this as a challenge for myself, and I've really enjoyed oven-baked clay as of late. I mixed in this purple with a little bit of black, give it a different kind of color. And then I smoothed out a very thin piece of the oven-baked clay, and I applied it all the way around the tinfoil ball, or the tinfoil C. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and you like this kind of style, and also leaving a like helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. Now that that's finished, I recommend that you actually go and bake it into the oven before you add on the next part, but I did that backwards in the video. But make sure you bake that C that you just made in the oven immediately, so it'll make the other steps way easier. After that, we are rolling out a piece of oven-baked clay, and we're going to be applying it down and then sculpting it on. Now this was a little tricky because it wasn't hardened yet, the shell, but if you harden it, then it's way easier to work on it. I found out because I made a few of these. So just adding a little bit more to the neck here on the top piece, and continuing to add these little balls all the way around. I really want you guys to make a ton of these because I want to see different variations, different styles. So definitely want to make this video so you guys can make your own engineers, because I think they're really cool and it'd be awesome to see you guys make your own as well. I started by applying texture all the way around with this brush on these little balls, and this just gave it a little bit more of an organic-y looking feel. After that was done, we started working on the head, which is just some blue and a little bit of that purple, and we shaped it to whatever size I thought was good. Then we're going to be working on the various different tendrils that are coming down off the engineer's midsection, and these were pretty simple. Just have to roll these little clay worms out and then cut them to shape. I used a picture I found off Google Images just for the engineer, and I would recommend you do the same thing also while you watch this video to give you a ton of help and inspiration on working on your own engineers. Mixing up these two colors were going to be the top tendrils that are on the engineer. These ones are a slightly different color, so I just mixed up two different shades of colors and made those as well. Then I baked everything in the oven, and I glued 3 of these worms together, and I twisted them like they are in the video game. Then I started applying everything down with super glue. Make sure when you're using super glue, you're in a somewhat ventilated area so you don't get super glue sickness, which I have actually had a little bit, and it's not very fun. You get a headache and you get really tired, and it's just not a good time. And then we're applying on the tail, and that's starting to look already really good. Then we had to add a little bit of clay, so I would recommend adding the clay before you actually bake all this, because the super glue gets a little weak when it comes to baking it, so make sure you add this clay first before you bake it. And then I just poked in my little engineer head. Now we're working on those side pieces that are a little bit more fleshy and organic-y looking, and it also closes up the inside bottom part just to make it seem like it doesn't look as much like clay and like an actual figure. So I just did that on each side, just a little bit of clay, and my engineer's head fell off. I just stuck it right back on. Now we're using liquitex gel. Liquitex gel I find at a store called Michael's that's nearby, but you can also get it online off Amazon and eBay, I imagine. And then I am using a little bit of paint just to change that. Now I did this twice because I wanted to add an organic-y kind of look to the engineer's back, just to try to make it seem a little bit more lively and less like clay. And I think all around it looked pretty good, so I'm just getting this in those gaps. You don't want to get them on the actual mounds that you made earlier. So I took a paper towel and kind of wiped those off. And then I used a deeper, darker purple on this, just to keep it a little bit more traditional to what the game actually looks like. And I applied that all around in all of the little cracks and grooves, and I actually thought it looked really good. I really like the fleshy kind of tone. And then I cleaned up all these little mounds, and then these are all the paints that I used in this project. And now we are painting on a little bit. Now, if you use clay like I used, you don't really have to use as much paint. You can just keep it the way it is without adding a liquitex gel and all that, and it'll still look really good, but I wanted to paint over it just to try to make it as perfect or as good as possible. I'll probably be making more of these in the future, but this was really fun to make. And I just continue to paint on all of these little mounds on the back to a darker purple. Try to match the video game as much as possible. And I moved on to a lighter blue for the tail and all of the other parts of the engineer that needed it. Then you have to add 4 little dots in the back on each one of these shells. A little time consuming process, but not very long. I added little lightning marks, I guess, everywhere, kind of like energy marks, but they were on the figure in the game, so I figured it might as well. And I'm just putting on the eyes. And now we're going to add some red liquitex gel to the top and the bottom. This just gives it a way better look than adding red clay, and it looks way more fleshy and lively than just using clay. So I would definitely recommend using liquitex gel for this part. I got this off of the Banished Banshee, that little clear rod, and then I just glued it down a little bit more. And there's your engineer. Hey guys, so hopefully you liked this little engineer. He was really fun to make. I want to do a ton of really cool stuff with this guy, maybe put a bomb on his back or something. So if you want to see a tutorial like that, let me know. If you want to see other tutorials of other customs or other figures, let me know in the comments down below as well. And of other video games. So I plan on doing Gears of War, Apex, a bunch of other stuff here soon, kind of branching out a little bit more than just Halo. And then when Halo Infinite drops, I mean, we'll be making a ton of stuff for that too. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I really want to see a bunch of people make these engineers, so definitely tag me on Instagram if you do make an engineer. And that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, evening, or night. Peace out.